My wife lied to me for 20 years about wanting kids, secretly took birth control, and cheated on me with a much younger man years later. She returned asking for a second chance. My name is Michael Brill. I am almost 50 years old now, living in Kansas, United States. I have red hair, although with some gray hairs that have earned their place over the years, and with experience, and brown eyes. I stay in shape. Running and the gym are part of my routine, which has given me an athletic build and makes me feel very energetic for my age. My story unfolded over many years and begins with my first marriage. I was married for 20 years to my first wife, Sophia. We met when I was very young. I was 19 years old and she was 18. There was something about her that attracted me immediately, an energy, a way of seeing life that captivated me. After 2 years of dating, we decided to take the big step and got married. I took her to the altar with the conviction that we were going to build a life together, a life of love, support, and mutual growth. And for a long time, that seemed to be exactly what we had. Our married life was, on the surface, very good. I worked hard, climbing the ranks in my field until I became the chief executive officer of a food company. I was passionate about my work and dedicated to it, which provided us with a comfortable and secure life. Sophia, for her part, decided to be a housewife. She focused on maintaining our home, taking care of herself, and enjoying the comforts that our lifestyle offered her. I strived to satisfy her tastes, her desires. If she wanted something, if she enjoyed certain things, I did everything possible for her to have it. I believe that was part of being a good husband, to provide and ensure her happiness and well-being. During the first 5 years of marriage, our life was very active and, in general, harmonious. We traveled, we went out to dinner, we enjoyed activities together. Sophia dedicated time to taking care of herself. She liked to stay in shape. She regularly visited the beauty salon. She was concerned about her physical appearance and personal well-being. I was immersed in my responsibilities at the company, building our financial security for the future that I saw at that time. The idea of having children was not an urgent priority for either of us. We were enjoying that stage, settling into our life as a couple. But after those first 5 years, something in me changed. I felt a deep and growing desire to be a father. I longed for the experience of having a baby, of hearing children's laughter filling our house, of watching a child grow, of forming that complete family unit. I believed with all my heart that a child would add a new dimension of joy, purpose, and continuity to our lives. I felt it was the right time to expand our family and share that dream with Sophia. Full of hope, one day I spoke with Sophia about it. I tried to express my longing to her with all the love and excitement I felt. I told her that I believed a child would complete our family and bring much happiness to our lives. Sophia's response was not what I expected. Her face became serious and her words were direct. She explained her reservations about motherhood. She mentioned friends of hers who had experienced significant changes in their physical appearance after having children and told me that she loved her body and did not want to risk experiencing those changes. In addition, she added that she did not feel mentally prepared for the great responsibility of raising a child. "Let me think about it more calmly and with consideration," she concluded, asking for space to reflect on it. I was a little surprised and disappointed by her reasons, especially the focus on physical appearance. I respected her request for time to think about it, although my heart felt a deep pang of disappointment. I tried to reassure her, to assure her that my love and commitment to her did not depend on her physical appearance. "My love," I told her, "do not think that I am going to leave you for wanting to start a family. I am a man of principles and respect. I will give you time to reflect calmly, and I hope that over time you can change your mind and share this dream with me." I hugged her, hoping that my affection and understanding would comfort her or perhaps make her consider the possibility of motherhood in a different way. At that moment, although her stance and what I perceived as a self-centered view of marriage frustrated me, where individual desires seemed to take precedence over the longing for a shared future with children, I tried to be patient. I believed that with time, with our love and my support, she could see the beauty and joy of starting a family, and that her perspective could change. The years passed, 15 more years, to be exact. Our life as a couple continued, enjoying outings, trips, dinners, the comfort of our lifestyle. But the issue of children was still there, an unfulfilled part of my vision for the future. I continued to endure the situation with patience, hoping that Sophia would change her mind, that her desire to be a mother would awaken over time. But it did not happen. The years passed and Sophia did not get pregnant. I reached the age of 42. I maintained my exercise routine. I took care of myself. I still felt in good shape and full of vitality. But I began to see the first undeniable signs of the passage of time. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw not only the physical changes, but also the years of my life and my marriage with Sophia passing before my eyes. And I felt that the time to form the family I so longed for was running out. I began to feel a growing urgency to fulfill that dream before it was too late. As we got older, I noticed a more worrying change in our relationship. Sophia became increasingly cold and distant with me. She began to reject my attempts at affection. She no longer let me hug her or hold her hand with the same ease as before. And when I sought to connect with her on a physical level, Sophia began to be reluctant, rejecting me more frequently. This baffled and hurt me deeply. I did not understand what was happening, and I began to feel that the distance between us was growing endlessly. I believed that perhaps she was dealing with some kind of stress, a hormonal change, or perhaps something related to age as she approached 50. Hoping it was a temporary phase, this persistent distancing began to cause me deep unease and doubts about myself. Was I the problem? Was there something in me that could be affecting our intimacy and her desire to start a family? I secretly decided to undergo exhaustive medical tests to evaluate my general health and my fertility, preparing for the possibility of discovering that the impediment to having children was me. When the results arrived, I felt immense relief to know that my fertility was normal for my age and that I was healthy. But this relief gave way to a growing confusion and a painful realization. The cause of our lack of children and perhaps her growing distance was not in me. It was in her. And the lack of communication and honesty about it was a deep wound in our relationship. It was then that suspicion transformed into an imperious need to know the complete truth. If I was not the problem and she was rejecting me, what was really happening in her life that made her so distant and reluctant to intimacy and the idea of starting a family? I decided to act with discretion. One day, upon arriving home, I noticed that Sophia was not there. It was the opportunity. With a mixture of apprehension and determination, I decided to search our room, her personal space, for something that could give me a clue. I found, hidden in a box, what had been preventing my dream of being a father for so long and which represented a years-long deception: birth control pills. Multiple packages with dates going back 20 years. In that instant, I felt the world stop. For 20 years, Sophia had been deceiving me in the most fundamental way regarding my desire for fatherhood, pretending to be open to the possibility, but actively taking precautions without telling me. The rage and betrayal were immense. I left the pills where they were. But soon, the signs that there was something more, something beyond the refusal to have children and the rejection, became more evident. Sophia became excessively protective of her phone. The complete truth, however, came from an external source. The manager of the bank where we had our joint accounts asked me to visit him in private. He told me about the constant and significant withdrawals of money from our joint account that Sophia had been making. The transactions were frequent and the amounts considerable, unexplainable even for Sophia's spending habits. I left the bank with a new and heavy layer of suspicion. Money, deception about children and intimacy, rejection, a secret phone, unexplained withdrawals. I headed home with my mind working restlessly, and halfway there, fate decided to show me a fundamental part of that picture. While driving, I saw Sophia. She was getting out of a car I did not recognize. And what I saw next left me frozen. A young man got out of the driver's seat, much younger than me, with a noticeable age difference. I saw them both. There was a familiarity and a closeness in their gestures that went beyond a simple friendship. And then, I saw them both enter a nearby hotel together. There it was, the raw and painful truth. Not only had she deceived me for 20 years about having children and about our intimacy, but now she was openly cheating on me with another man, a young man. The pills, the rejection of intimacy with me, the unexplained withdrawals of money that I suspected she was spending on him, the secret phone, everything now fit into a pattern of deception and disloyalty. The woman I thought loved me was behaving in a way that I felt disrespected everything we had built. I felt immense rage and a deep wound. The idea that such a young man could be involved in the destruction of my marriage was unbearable to me. But I still believed I could fight for our marriage. But the final confrontation did not happen as I thought. Days after seeing her at the hotel, Sophia called me at home. Not to make an excuse, to ask me for a divorce. "Listen, Michael," she told me, her voice strangely resolute. "I think that after 20 years together, we are no longer compatible. I do not love you anymore. I want a divorce." The words broke my soul. "Divorce?" I replied with a broken voice. 20 years down the drain, just like that? What about our vows?" And she was blunt. "I just do not love you anymore, Michael. It is over. Let us part on good terms. Let us divide the assets. And who knows, maybe you will find someone who wants to give you the children you so desire. I want to be free. I am not going to dedicate myself to taking care of children, much less risk experiencing changes in my figure to please anyone. I have always told you, my body and my rules." At that moment, I saw the complete and final truth. I took out the birth control pills I had found. I put them in front of her. "Then, take your pills," I shouted, the rage exploding. "Since you want to live your life without commitments, however you want. Life. I hope your young lover with whom you are cheating on me can give you the life you so desire." The direct accusation of infidelity, based on my discoveries, came out of me with all the force of my pain. Her reaction was not one of confession. It was one of astonishment and denial. "How did you find that?" she replied, trying to divert the conversation. "What young lover are you talking about? Are you drunk?" She tried to discredit me. "I am not drunk," I replied with fury. "You took 20 years of my life from me by deceiving me about having children with those pills. And I know you shared an intimate connection with someone younger than me. I saw you leave a hotel with that boy, and I know about the money withdrawals. Are you spending our money on someone much younger? You are despicable, Sophia. I thought love would change you. How stupid I was." We argued all night. It was clear that the marriage was dead, beyond salvation. We decided to end the agony. Luckily, when we got married, we did so under a separation of property agreement. Thank God, I had not been so trusting as to get married under community property. It was not difficult to file the divorce papers, considering the evidence I had of her deception about the children and my testimony of her extramarital affair and use of funds. Although I proved that the cause was her infidelity, her lawyer managed for her to get a significant part of my assets. I felt frustrated, feeling that the law is sometimes weak in the face of deception, not always fully proven in all its facets. But at least I did not have to pay alimony to the woman who had cheated on me. I believed in a higher justice, in the natural laws of karma. I believed that Sophia would one day reap the consequences of her actions. Unfortunately, the emotional blow of the betrayal left me devastated. I felt a deep pain for the 20 years I considered misinvested, deceived by the person I trusted the most. I was suffering immensely, but I decided that I would not stay on the ground. I had to pick up the broken pieces of my life and rebuild myself. I sought therapy, a whole year of individual therapy to process the betrayal, the rage, the pain, and the losses. I had recurring nightmares, dark nightmares where my mind contemplated the possibility of self-destruction. But thanks to the help of my therapist and my own determination, I managed to overcome those shadows. I focused on my physical and mental recovery. Slowly, I began to heal. After a year, I felt that I had been reborn from the ashes. I was recovered, free from deception, and at ease with myself. My business prospered, and I began to enjoy my single life. But I never stopped believing in the possibility of true love. One day, I was in my office when I saw a young woman enter for an interview for the vacant secretary position. She was 26 years old and was remarkably beautiful. Her name was Karina. I felt a strong connection. She was applying for the job. During the interview, I could see that she was a very hard-working, dedicated, kind, polite, and cheerful woman. I gave her the tests and she passed them all. In less than a week, Karina began to work with me. I started to chat with Karina in a more personal way, taking an interest in her life. Karina opened up to me and told me about her life. She started working and got married very young. She had a small son of 5 years named James. She also told me she was a widow. Her husband had tragically died in a work accident. I was more and more impressed with Karina for her honesty and her resilience as a single mother. From that moment, I decided that I wanted to try something more with Karina. I began to show her my romantic interest. Karina rejected my advances initially, but she did it in the most polite and kind way possible, expressing her concerns about the boss-secretary dynamic and the fear of being hurt or being the subject of rumors. I did not want to pressure her. I settled for being just her friend for a while, despite the age difference. But I was sure I was in front of a special person. I was persistent in my friendship and in showing her my true intentions. Little by little, Karina began to respond to me in a way that indicated her heart was opening to the possibility. One day, I called her and said, with a smile of happiness reflected in my words, "Karina, I see you are right to be cautious, but I assure you that my intentions for you are genuine and the best possible. I am not like others. You can trust that I am a man of respect and principles, and I assure you that if you give me a chance, you will not regret it. I really feel something deep for you." I opened my heart to her. Karina saw the sincerity, and then I asked her the question that could change my future. "Karina," I said, "you are an incredible woman. Would you like to be my girlfriend and maybe my future wife? I will do everything possible to make you happy." Karina was very moved and accepted my proposal. Remember, for more stories like this, subscribe, like, and turn on the bell. Let us continue. So we began our romance. The next step was for Karina to introduce me to her little son, James. Meeting James was a crucial moment. The boy won my affection immediately. He was a sweet, polite, and very good child. Just as I fell in love with his mother, I also fell in love with this child with all my heart, and I decided to treat him as if he were my own son from the first day. I began to actively interact with James, dedicating time to him, taking him for walks, having fun together. It was then that I proposed to Karina that we start living together. Karina accepted. My house was too big to be alone. I had a room built and decorated for James in my house, a space of his own where he would feel welcome and loved. I did it for love of him and his mother, building our family. Just as I loved the child, James also loved me, and over time, the child began to call me Dad. That made me immensely happy. Karina made me very happy in all aspects. With her knowledge, she implemented improvements in the company that helped me become more prosperous. Karina practically became my right hand in life and in business. One day, I felt it was important for our connection that she knew my full story. I told her everything about my past life with Sophia, how she deceived me for 20 years, the manipulations, and how our relationship ended. Karina was moved and responded with sincerity and affection. "I am so sorry for everything you had to go through, my love. Your ex is a loser. She does not know the great man she lost." And with a smile full of gratitude, I replied, "Yes, my love. She was the one who lost and did not value me. But now I have everything I need and more thanks to you and your son." I sometimes thought about Sophia, but without nostalgia, focusing on my new family. Karina and James were now my absolute priority, and they both gave me a new meaning to my life. Our family was consolidating more every day. One night, when James woke up and said he could not sleep alone because he was scared, Karina tried to calm him down. It was at that moment that I decided to intervene and assume my role as a father. I told Karina, "Honey, let the child sleep here with us tonight. I will take responsibility. Can you come here, champ?" The child snuggled between us that night, and other nights when James was scared, I had him sleep hugged to me, on my chest, because I wanted him to feel loved, safe, and protected. I started to sleep with the child in his bedroom when he was scared. I held him hugged to my chest until he fell deeply asleep. I continued to do this until the child lost his fear and began to sleep alone. With our family feeling complete with James and Karina, my desire to have a biological child became stronger than ever. One unexpected day, I invited Karina to go with me to a hotel for a night, just for the two of us, to have an intimate and special moment, leaving James with a babysitter. Karina accepted. We went to the hotel, we had dinner. Decidedly, I told Karina what I really wanted. Karina asked me, making sure, "Michael, are you sure you really want this?" And very sure of my decision, I replied, "Yes, love, I really want this. I do not want to wait any longer. Let us set aside precautions today, and I want this to be natural. Let us try to have a baby right here, tonight. I really want to fulfill my dream of being a dad, and I think James also needs a little brother. I am sure of what I want." Karina saw the security and determination in my words, and sure and firm in our purpose. We gave ourselves to each other in body and soul with the intention of conceiving a new life that night. That night was the best I had ever had. Our intimate connection was full and satisfying, and Karina made me feel fully realized as a man in our relationship. It was not just something physical. We really made love, and I felt deeply happy and connected with Karina. The next morning, I brought coffee to Karina in bed, and she was very impressed. And it did not take long for that night to bear fruit. At 7 weeks, Karina began to feel nauseous, and when she took a test, it came out positive. We were expecting a baby. When she showed me the result, my joy was overflowing. I was finally going to be a dad. I already had a son of my heart in James, and now a son of my blood was coming. I really felt like the happiest man. We organized a gender reveal party. It was going to be a boy. Happiness took over me. After the gestation period, my son was born. I named him Aaron Brill. Despite the birth of Aaron, I never turned my back on James. On the contrary, my relationship with the child only became even stronger, and I did everything possible to make sure they were both loved equally. I wanted and loved them both equally, my two wonderful sons. Many might criticize me for having chosen a single mother, but Karina was a widow, not separated, and she was free, and so was I. Karina, James, and Aaron were now my absolute priority, my true family. One day, with the desire to formalize my total commitment to James, I asked Karina if I could legally adopt him and include the child in my will. Karina was delighted to accept. With the adoption and my will, everything I had would be theirs. My relationship with James and my son Aaron was pure, true, and built on an unconditional love. After a few months, when Karina recovered from childbirth, I asked her to marry me to seal our union legally and spiritually. She accepted. We got married in the church, in a beautiful ceremony, in the company of our children. The church was filled with joy. All our close friends, family, and acquaintances gathered to celebrate our happiness. I was very happy with my new family. I had a woman who loved me unconditionally and whom I loved in the same way. Karina was an excellent wife, a loving mother to both children, and our intimate connection was also full and satisfying, something that made me feel fully realized as a man in our relationship. It was not just something physical. We really made love, and I felt deeply happy and connected with Karina on all levels. We took care of our children with all the love and affection in the world and dedicated ourselves to teaching them values and fundamental principles of life for their formation. Indeed, I was on the right path. I had found my soulmate, my life partner. When I turned 46, I decided to take Karina, my stepson James, and my biological son Aaron to have a family moment in a square in Kansas. I felt immensely happy seeing all those families around me. I was playing with my children, laughing, when out of nowhere, someone called my name. The voice sounded strangely familiar. I turned around. The person was none other than Sophia. I was enormously surprised to see Sophia there after so many years. Seeing her, I noticed that time had not been kind to her. She looked marked by hardship, with her hair as gray as mine, and she had a tired, broken expression, a shadow of the vibrant woman I remembered. I was petrified for a brief moment. Sophia wanted to talk to me. At first, my instinct was to refuse, to protect my present happiness, but curiosity got the better of me, and I also believed deep down that I needed to put a definitive end to this story. I decided to talk to her. We moved a little away from where my family was, and it was at that moment that, with a calmness that surprised Sophia, I said, noticing her marked appearance, "Sophia, what happened to you? From what I see, life has not been good to you at all. And why do you want to talk to me now?" And at that moment, Sophia, visibly affected, began to tell me her story. "Michael," she replied, "I am very sorry for everything I caused you. Unfortunately, that man eventually ended up cheating on me with other women, and I ended up spending a large part of what I got from the divorce trying to satisfy his whims. I was left with almost nothing. I only have my original house." She told me that that man, her lover, ended up dying in a car accident, and he revealed to me, before he died, that he had given her a serious medical condition. "And as you can see," she said, "I am suffering the consequences." I was deeply surprised by what Sophia told me. Maintaining a firm stance, I replied not with gloating, but with a cold objectivity about the consequences of her past choices. "I am very sorry for what you are going through, Sophia," I said, "but these are, unfortunately, the direct results of your choices. You deceived me for 20 years about my desire to have children. You actively cheated on me with a much younger man, seeking experiences, and you still managed to get a large part of what was mine in the divorce. And look at you now, defeated and marked by hardship. Then, I wanted to show her the reality of what she had rejected. I moved on. I told her with a glance towards my family. And as you saw, I already have the family I always wanted. That is my wife, Karina, my son of my heart, James, and my son of my blood, Aaron. That, Sophia, could have been our family, and you lost it. It was at that moment that Sophia, trying to manipulate me one last time, to find a way out, told me, trying to appeal to a past that no longer existed. Michael, I am very sorry for everything I put you through. We still have a chance. You and I can try again. We can have a secret relationship if you want. You do not have to break up with your wife or your new family. We can go back to the old times. Deep down, Michael, I am sure you still love me. She proposed a secret disloyalty, a throwback to the same dynamic that had destroyed us. Sophia's words sickened my soul. The brazenness of her proposal, after everything, to offer to be my secret lover, replicating the same dynamic she had used against me, was shocking. I could not contain myself, and I replied with a vehemence that came from the solidity of my new life and my absolute rejection of her proposal. Listen very carefully, Sophia, I told her, my voice firm and final. Not for all the gold in the world would I betray Karina and my children. I would never put my family at risk, and much less would I do it to go back to you. I returned the irony of her old words. Now it is I who ask you, are you done with your justifications and deceptions? Or do you still have something more to offer? I was direct. Now that the man for whom you left me is gone from this world and you are alone, do you think I am your second option, someone who is going to pick up the leftovers? No way. I have a family, a wife, a home. You must live with the consequences of your decisions, Sophia. You took the wrong path. I told her about my relationship with Karina. I love Karina. She is my wife and the mother of my children. Our intimate connection is full and satisfying. She makes me feel loved, valued, and fulfilled as a man in our relationship in a way that you, with your secrets and your priorities, never managed. I am firm and strong in my relationship with Karina and my children. I tried to teach her one last lesson. I hope that one day you can get back on your feet, Sophia, as I did. I suffered a lot after you left. I was depressed. I even thought about wanting to take my own life. But thanks to God and my own determination, I managed to move forward, and God, life, and destiny gave me another chance with Karina and my children, and I am not going to waste it by going back to the past, to the lies and the pain that you represent. I put an end to the conversation. Goodbye, Sophia. I hope everything goes well for you, and I sincerely wish you can find some peace and recovery in your life. At that moment, I ended my story with Sophia in that square. I turned around and left her behind. The past was finally over, and I did not want to go back. Sophia chose what she wanted for her life a long time ago. She chose deception and vanity over loyalty, and now she had to live with that. Many might even call me harsh, but I acted according to my principles and the need to protect my new life. We should not always listen to everything our heart says, because sometimes our heart is deceitful. So you have to use reason to make firm decisions when our heart tries to lead us down destructive paths. With that, I ended my conversation with Sophia and put a definitive end to it. For me, my life with Karina was going wonderfully. We were happy raising our children, James and Aaron, planning their future, instilling values in them. I was happy, and I do not regret having achieved my family. I never saw Sophia again after that encounter, although I did learn, through mutual friends, that she decided to seek treatment for the serious medical condition she contracted from her deceased lover, and that she also sought therapy to try to recover. I no longer thought of Sophia with bitterness, but with a feeling of pity for the creature she had become, and I hoped that everything would turn out well for her. For my part, I decided to move on, completely focused on Karina and our children, living as the true family we were, a family based on love, trust, and mutual respect, and I would not change them for anything in the world. I am happy, very happy.